OC World is made possible by the generous contributions of Marisla Foundation, Keith and Judy Swain Family Foundation, Wells Fargo Bank, the University of California, Irvine, Orange County Community Foundation, Santiago Canyon College, Farmers and Merchants Bank, and viewers like you. Thank you. Orange County has always been a hotbed of artistic expression and music that has been the driving force behind some of this creative spirit. On this episode of OC History Hunters, John Morlock and Chris Epting dive into the heart and soul of Orange County's rock and roll history. From the birthplace of Leo Fender's groundbreaking guitar innovations to iconic venues like the legendary Golden Bear, we're about to uncover the incredible stories that have shaped this county's musical landscape.
So Chris, we're going to have a little fun talking about music in Orange County today.
On a blustery Santa Ana day. Before we kind of even get into it, we're right by West Broadway in Anaheim, by the 5 freeway. Why are we here? Why are we walking around here?
There was a ballroom here where a lot of people came to dance and enjoy early rock and roll.
The Harmony Park Ballroom, right?
Harmony Park Ballroom, right here, torn down in '91.
But what makes it so famous? Do you know why the Harmony Park was so famous?
Well, I have one guess, and that is that a song was written there.
A song was written there, but it was actually built back in the 1920s. The Harmony, what was built sort of as a German meeting hall back then. And it became the Harmony Park in the 40s and 50s. It was a big dance hall, and there was a local band, considered Orange County's first band, called the Rhythm Rockers, made up primarily of a family from Santa Ana called the Rolera family, led by the late great Barry Rolera, who I got to know. He passed away in the last year, but Barry told me an amazing story. They were playing here in the mid-50s. A black R&B singer from LA named Richard Berry came down. He was trying to finish writing a song. He recruited Barry to help him, and thus the rock and roll anthem, Louie Louie, was born backstage at the Harmony Park Ballroom.
And when the Kingsmen sang it and did it, it became a #1 song.
The ultimate garage band song.
And so you can hear the opening, doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo,
right.
Doo-doo. So, but we've had lots of ballrooms. Rendezvous Ballroom on the peninsula, in Newport Beach. We had
the Golden Bear that's on your shirt today. We're obviously talking about rock and roll history in Orange County on this episode, and your shirt celebrates probably the most famous rock and roll palace in Orange County.
Yeah, and it's got a mural that it had on the side with done by Weiland, who we know from Laguna Beach.
One of his first murals.
One of his first murals. So this was the Huntington Beach Centennial shirt. So this is a Rain Spooner classic, and no, you cannot have it.
I've got one at home.
Oh, okay.
I could have worn it today. But we're going to be covering a lot of things today. I know you've got, we've chased down a lot of history today. We've hunted down a lot of things. You're going to be in Fullerton talking all about the legendary Leo Fender.
His folks had an orange orchard between Anaheim and Fullerton. He was an accounting major, but he dabbled in electronics because an uncle of his put a radio together way back in the early 1900s. And so Leo Fender was fascinated with that. He worked on radios, he built amplifiers, and someone came along and said, we need to amplify our guitars. So he helped develop the solid body guitar, which is sort of the premier guitar in the music industry around the world, put Fullerton on the map with the Stratocaster.
Right. Well, again, you're going to be covering some great kind of, I mean, you've hunted down some history over there. You're going to see some artifacts and hear some stories. I'm going to go to Huntington Beach, getting back to the Golden Bear, and I'm going to trace down the where the bear still kind of lives on today in someone's driveway, believe it or not. And I'm going to talk to the last former owner of the Golden Bear to get some, some great hidden stories there. So it's going to be fun. Along the way, we're going to learn about Elvis Presley, No Doubt, and some other kind of great rock and roll trivia here in Orange County. This should be a fun episode.
We're within a couple of miles of Disneyland where we stand. And there was a young lady by the name of Linda Ronstadt that decided to play for a week there, and she had a backup band.
Incredible story. She needed some musicians to back her, playing on the Tomorrowland stage at Disneyland, early 70s. That backup band, they liked playing together so much, they said to her, hey, you know what? This was fun playing at Disneyland, but we're going to kind of go off on our own now, which is how the Eagles were born, essentially here in Orange County. So a ton of great stories, some great history being hunted down. We'll circle back here once our day is completed, but you have fun over in Fullerton. I'm going to hit Huntington Beach and we'll see where this goes.
We're really excited to be in beautiful downtown Fullerton at the Fullerton Museum Center. It's not too far from the train station or from the Cellar Restaurant, but it's a museum that you really need to have to visit here in Orange County. Just go up Harbor Boulevard and you are in an incredible little place. But Fullerton was incorporated in 1904, January. And so you will be celebrating the 120th anniversary of Fullerton. It's the fourth oldest city inside of Orange County. And here in Fullerton, a young man was born in 1909 by the name of Clarence Leonardus Finder. And Finder was an accounting major at Fullerton Junior College. So he wins my admiration, but he also liked to play with radios, kind of a new, interesting hobby. He was really interested in how he could make louder sounds, so he worked on amplifiers. And so he progressed from there and met with some people who said, we'd like to electrify and get more volume from our instruments. And so now you have sort of the infancy of the solid body electric guitar. And so that's a big feature here at the Fullerton Museum Center. You're going to celebrate 30 years of something. Why don't you just let me know what you're doing?
In 1993, we opened our first Leo Fender exhibit, 5 decades of Fender. And the main Leo Fender gallery, we're going to be showing Strumming Through the Decades, 30 Years with Fender. We'll be following his footsteps all around Fullerton. Like you mentioned, he went to Fullerton Junior College, he went to Fullerton High School. He was born in a barn not too far from here. It wasn't even Fullerton yet, and it was in the outskirts of Anaheim and Fullerton. So it's a way for us to celebrate and keep Leo's legacy alive. We are really excited to be working with our advisors, Jim Washburn and Richard Smith, and curating the show are 2 exhibit specialists, Grace Yo, and to my right, Joey Fenwick.
So Joey, let's have a little fun. Explain what a Fender guitar is.
So a Fender guitar, it means a little bit, and they've had a lot of different changes over the years. When Leo was first starting out, it wasn't, there wasn't a lot of the standard electric shape that we're looking for. It was mostly oftentimes a tabletop guitar, usually what was called a lap steel. And that was a lot of what he worked, just a plank of wood with some wires trying to get those amplifiers in those. Over the decades and over the years, it's kind of changed to that standard classic Telecaster kind of shape that we have, Stratocaster or Telecaster shape that we have right next to us.
And it has become probably the predominant guitar manufacturer probably in the world. I mean, we have Gibson, we have some other guitar manufacturers, but Leo Fender really put Fullerton on the map.
Absolutely, and that's what our other show is going to be about, Leo Fender, Fullerton to the World. We're going to follow his life, but really explore all the ways all the inventions that he created, but all the people that he taught, the music that was created because of his instruments. And this is a man that never played a guitar, didn't learn how to play guitar, played the saxophone and a little bit of the piano. But I love that he was a creative thinker, thought outside the box and problem solver, and just kept on trying to better his instruments and better the sound.
Fender today is probably now selling, what, 50% of the guitars around the world?
Just about. They just opened up a flagship store in Japan, and that's increasing market to the Asian markets as well.
I kind of look at Leo Fender like I would at, say, Ferdinand Porsche. You know, so today, you know, Porsches are collectible cars. No one sends them to Goodwill. You know, no one takes them to, you know, the car wrecker. You know, these are items that are of immense value because of how cutting edge and how unique they were. And it's sort of amazing how many famous musicians will brag about the fact that they play a Fender guitar. So Joey, one of the interesting things that Fender did was give his guitars names. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Telecaster, you mentioned Stratocaster. I think there might have even been a Broadcaster until that kind of
They did, yeah.
sounded
It
kind of...
didn't work too well, yeah.
So explain that component of the story.
Yeah, so the Telecaster was the first one to have more of a clean sound. It often has a way heavier body as well as a much smaller head. Usually known for its clean sound, a single pickup on the top for high notes and a sideways pickup for deeper bass for it, versus the Stratocaster, which is our more iconic design when you're thinking about like a child's drawing of a guitar. Known for a little bit more ingenuity when it came to the whammy bar. Able to allow musicians to no longer have to bend notes with their fingers, rather using the whammy bar to tighten and loosen the strings as they're playing to give that more iconic sound of wails and hums.
Great. Well, Elvia and Joey, thank you so much for your time and for your knowledge and experience. You got to come to Fullerton, you got to come to the museum, you got to really appreciate Leo Fender. We're not talking about the covering of a wheel. We're talking about a real incredible instrument with an incredible story which has dominated the globe. So once again, one of those great little hidden treasures here in Orange County.
A significant contributor to rock and roll music in this country is Clarence Leonidas Leo Fender, who was born in 1909 on an orange grove between Anaheim and Fullerton. In 1911, music legend Stan Kenton was born, and he would perform often in Orange County, including the Harmony Park Ballroom, which opened also in 1911. By 1922, the venue that would become the Golden Bear opened in Huntington Beach. In 1928, the famous Rendezvous Ballroom was built on the Balboa Peninsula, being a key performing venue until it burned down in 1966. 1928 would see Leo graduating from high school, going on to Fullerton Junior College as an accounting major, but his love was radio and amplifiers and solid body guitars. In 1937, Richard Anthony Mansour, known professionally as Dick Dale, was born. He would be known as the king of the surf guitar. His performance at the Rendezvous Ballroom are credited with the creation of surf music. By 1954, Leo Stratocaster would become the industry standard. In 1955, Richard Berry wrote Louie Louie. Orange County would make it to the concert circuit, including a performance by Led Zeppelin at UCI on May 1st, 1969, a few months after the release of their first album. In 1970, the rock band Honk formed in Laguna Beach and recorded their first album, Five Summer Stories, which is still a classic to this day. They can be seen at the Coach House in San Juan Capistrano, which opened in 1980. The Golden Bear closed in 1986 and would be demolished for new development. One of the first murals painted by Weiland would be a casualty of progress on Pacific Coast Highway near the Huntington Beach Pier. By 1991, following the Rendezvous in Golden Bear, the Harmony Park Ballroom would also disappear from Orange County's landscape. The music plays on, with many more Orange County personalities adding to the contributions of rock and roll in this country.
Exploring Orange County reveals hidden landmarks that embody the local rock and roll legacy. In Anaheim, the unassuming house and garage were no doubt first formed. Meanwhile, in Huntington Beach, a suburban home hosted the birth of the Runaways, when Joan Jett's visit sparked the band's inception. Additionally, this Surf City house holds the unique history of Elvis Presley's private martial arts training. Not to forget the International Surf Museum, formerly Safari Sam's, which witnessed Jane's Addiction's inaugural performance. However, the most impactful tale lies in the vanished site on Coast Highway near Main Street in Huntington Beach, the iconic Golden Bear. Although it's no longer standing, remnants of its spirit endure, preserving its profound legacy. That's why we hunted down the home of Barbara Nelson Haynes. Incredibly, her home is home to 2,000 bricks from the Golden Bear after she recently acquired them from another local. Well, Barbara, we're here at your beautiful home, kind of near beach in Yorktown and Huntington Beach. As an OC history hunter, I wanted to track you down because your home here contains, we're talking about music history throughout Orange County today.
Yes.
I heard about things that you had here that are connected to the Golden Bear, that actually was the Golden Bear. Talk about, when I walked up, for instance, today, I could feel kind of an energy coming off of your steps. Why is that? Why? What am I feeling?
You're feeling the excitement of the Golden Bear that could never be duplicated.
And what do you have here that made me feel that?
I have bricks from the Golden Bear.
Like thousands of bricks.
I have about almost 2,000 bricks.
And we saw one, we'll show folks in a minute here, that's got paint on it that would have been part of the original Weiland mural.
Correct.
On the side of the building. So again, with this many bricks, you're bound to have a few real keepsakes. There were a lot of venues throughout Orange County that became notable, but nothing quite like the Golden Bear.
That's right. I mean, the Golden Bear was just, when they tried to bring it back, I think that was 2000s, somewhere in there.
Yeah, right after it closed down, there was a new place called Pepper's Golden Bear around the corner. That didn't happen.
Right.
It's a very elusive thing to try and recapture. The magic is so heavy.
I mean, the people that played there, it's just, you can't recreate that. And you can try all you want. But
the mythology is justified. Again, I've been contacted, but nothing rivals what you've got here. This really is an extension of the history. I mean, you almost feel it when you walk up, the energy.
Yes.
Do you ever feel that at all?
Oh, all the time. I'm a huge believer. And
there's something there. When I walked up today, you feel the air is a little heavier, that there's something else going on.
Yeah, there's a whole nother story I can tell you about that.
Well, another episode, maybe we'll come back if you'll let us.
Awesome.
But again, I want to thank you again for not just having the bricks, but putting them in place where they'll live on.
Oh, yes.
And people can, maybe not come into your house all the time, but thanks to your generosity here, folks can see them, and it's a piece of history that we're happy to have hunted down, and really thankful for you for letting us in today.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I'm a huge history buff, and in high school, history was like, oh, no way. And I look back and think, how could I have not liked history in high school when I'm passionate about it now?
Here's the story of a young artist who in 1979 painted a mural on the side of the Golden Bear building in Huntington Beach. He later became known simply by one name, Weiland.
It's great to have you, Weiland, on our show. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate this a little book you prepared, and it talks about all of your whaling walls. You've done well over 112 different countries, but I didn't see anything in the book about the Golden Bear, and obviously it's not a whaling wall, but it is a unique wall. And I just thought maybe you could share a little bit about your mural.
Well, I remember when I, left the nest there in Detroit, I went to a really great art school called the Center for Creative Studies. And so I jammed in about 2 years of all the art classes, went to night classes, went on Saturdays. But my dream was always to go to Southern California. And I actually visited Laguna Beach back in 1971. I was 14. And I saw my first whale there, kind of migrating near shore. And it really inspired me to want to, move to Southern California, not only for the beautiful whales, the ocean, but I like the lifestyle. I like the idea that California is where innovation happens, probably more than any other place. So I knew I would go back there. So 10 years later, ironically, I moved back there and actually went there the first time in '77. And, I painted some murals all around Detroit, but nothing on the scale of the Golden Bear. So I saw that wall. I got very, very excited about it, man. I knew that would be a place for public art, for a great mural. And B.B. King was playing there that night. So I went there and, I had my feet up on the stage and my sketchbook, like Leroy Neiman, feet up. And I'm drawing B.B. King, and I also drew the building, the wall, with this design of musical notes kind of rolling across the entire wall. And inside the musical notes were artists like Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, B.B. King, of course, all the legends, And so I was drawing that, and I think Rick came over, the owner, and said, "What is that?" And I said, "That's your building." He goes, "Can you do that?" And I said, "Of course." He goes, "When?" I go, "Tomorrow." I was a starving artist. So anyway, I think we came up with $300, and you pay for the paint and scaffolding, and I'll start tomorrow. And I did. And I painted the whole thing probably in 3 or 4 days. When you work cheap or for free, in my case, on the Whaling Wall project, you got to work fast,
What did it feel like in '86 when they took the Golden Bear down? That had to be emotional for you, given the connection you had to the building. You remember what your thoughts were when that happened?
Well, thank you. Yeah, I was pretty upset about it. Not only the fact that, the barter system is great for artists, that I would not be able to go to the Golden Bear and see all these great bands, but the fact that one of my landmark murals was destroyed, and somebody sent me a blue brick, so I still have that.
There's, within this episode, we visit somebody's house that collected more than 1,000 bricks from the Golden Bear, and she's got ones that have blue and white paint. Are you familiar with the fact that people did this and that your mural does kind of exist in a variety of homes today?
The Golden Bear was iconic. I mean, it had that vibe, and the music and the people that played at the Golden Bear really inspired me to bring that mural to life, All
right, well, and thank you so much for your time. This has really been, I know you and John have a great connection and friendship. So John, thanks.
We do.
What's up?
John, thank you, and a big aloha right there for you guys.
Yeah, mahalo, and thanks for your being a gift to Orange County and for giving us fun OC treasures to hunt. We really appreciate you, and thank you for your time.
OC's the best.
Mahalo.
Mahalo.
What do you remember about the last days of 1986? How tough was it to let the Golden Bear go and say goodbye?
It was very tough. The roof needed repaired, and we were packing up, and it was actually raining inside. And we said, okay, I guess that's it. It's time to go.
People wonder about that moment. Some people will say, oh, why couldn't the city have saved this? But it's more complicated than that, right?
Right.
As far as the details go, what was really behind?
It was the redevelopment. They wanted to tear it down and build something new, that brought more money in.
And it needed a lot of repairs.
Yeah,
There were earthquake,
right.
issues as well and things like that, right? So was it
Right.
just not worth the cost at that point? Would it have been too much
Oh,
to
yeah,
maintain it for
yeah.
you guys?
We could hardly put a roof on.
Yeah.
We sure miss it.
Remember Weiland, the young artist named Weiland,
Oh,
attending
yeah,
shows there?
yeah.
Because he painted the mural on the outside of the Golden Bear. So I think it's one of his first murals.
It was one of his first murals. He was doodling on a napkin, and one of the waitresses noticed that he was drawing the side of the Golden Bear, and he says, "Yeah, I want to paint this." And she took it to Rick, my
Right.
husband, in his office, and he came out immediately and brought Wyland back into his office, and he said he would do it, and for very little money or for dinner and the show.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. He says, "When can you start?" And he says, "Tomorrow."
And he did it.
He did. He finished it. He was,
And I remember he signed it as well. His name was on. He signed for those first murals. You could see the name Weiland on there outside the Golden Bear.
1979. Yeah.
Amazing.
What a day.
Yeah.
How was your, I had an amazing day. What was Fullerton like for you?
Well, I'll tell you, a fender means more than just something that covers the wheel well. We're talking about not body parts of a car. We're talking about an incredible history of electronic or electric guitars. It started well before we were born. I would have thought it was a recent kind of thing, but in Fullerton, Leo Fender put that little city on the map.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you had fun. I got to see someone's house where they claimed almost 2,000 Golden Bear bricks. The driveway, the walkway, it's all Golden Bear. And then Carol Babaraki, who owned the Golden Bear, she took me through some incredible memorabilia. This was an amazing day hunting down some really cool history. That we're back here though, where it all kind of started with the rock and roll garage anthem, Louie Louie. Why don't we give the folks a little bit of taste of that? What do you say? If I begin the rhythm part, can you sing a little bit?
I'll follow the Kingsman's version.
Song begins, da-na-na, da-na, da-na-na, da-na, da-na-na, da-na, da-na-na, da-na.
Louie Louie, whoa baby, Louie Louie, me gotta go. That's about the best I can do.
We gotta go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for doing that, John. Thanks for covering us.
Thank you,
All right,
Chris, for being awesome.
Till the next time we do this.
You bet.